Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. We are live. How are ya?
How did you send in a question before we went live?
I don't know. Charlie and Jody sent in a question at 4:54. What do you recommend for protein intake amount? Is it different for weight loss versus maintenance? It is different. This could be a very involved question for sure. So,
Hi, Instagram.
what's up, Instagram? Let me put this question up on the board here. We'll dive into cholesterol here in a second. What do you recommend for protein intake amount? Is it different for weight loss versus maintenance? So you want to make sure you're having adequate protein at all times. If you're trying to build muscle, then I recommend having a little bit of a surplus in protein and a surplus in calories. If you're trying to lose body fat, then you don't want to be under eating protein. However, you can strategically be very low on protein for a finite period of time. So like for me, that's the last month of a competition prep. However, I'm doing keto caloric refeeds in that month, and those involve an increase in protein. So I'm not really in a deficient amount of protein. So to answer your question, yes. However, of all the different macronutrients that you can manipulate, protein stays relatively constant, and that you want to make sure you're having enough for your body's demands based off of your amount of lean muscle, your age, your metabolism. But if you're just wanting to like maintain, a good way to play it safe is try and get like 1 gram of protein per pound of lean mass. Like if you do that, then you're going to be able to maintain and all will be well. Yeah, I'm not actually going to go super deep in this very question on one of my AMA videos. So I don't want to give away too many details. You have anything? How much protein are you eating right now?
A lot? Well, maybe it's not a lot. I am eating, I would say between like 150 and 180 on a regular basis. That's probably.
I'm actually probably about the same. I'm probably a little bit higher, like 200. Sometimes I'll go as high as 225, and I weigh 180, 175.
Yeah, this is like a really good example of why everybody needs to eat for themselves, because there are a lot of days where Robert and I's like protein could be about the same, but it doesn't mean that like I have so much more muscle and I need so much more protein.
She has way more muscle than me.
Our bodies just need different things, and that works really well for me, and it works really well for him. So that is why it's so important to find what works for you. And both of our ratios are still higher fat. I always have more fat in my diet than protein, but I also just have the same.
So let's dive into cholesterol.
Yeah, let's dive in.
Let's preface this conversation on cholesterol.
Did you see my note on there?
Yes, we're not doctors. We are not doctors.
We're not doctors.
We do not want to play one on the interwebs.
If you have personal questions about your cholesterol and about your numbers, please speak to your physician, your doctor, whoever you've got. We are not the people to ask, but we will give you our opinions.
I want to say this about cholesterol, because I think cholesterol unnecessarily steers a lot of people away from keto, and that's not necessarily a good thing. So I want to speak to that. So let me talk, how do I want to address this? So when you first go keto, you're eating a lot more fat, right? A lot more dietary fat. However, until you really learn to adapt and your body becomes efficient at using that influx in fat, there is a lag period in which you're going to have a lot more lipids floating around your bloodstream. So if you just start a ketogenic diet, your body's not really tapping in and efficiently using those lipids, and you go into the doctor and get your blood panel done, get a basic, not hormone panel, but basic lipid panel in which they test for triglycerides, LDL, HDL, total cholesterol, they're going to see a lot more lipids in your blood because you haven't really efficiently tapped into using those lipids yet. So your doctor, if they're not really in the know about keto, is going to start freaking out and saying you need to get on a statin. This is not good. You should stop keto, eat more grains. Like, it's just not really good information. I don't want to discredit doctors, because a lot of doctors know a lot of things. They know a lot of things that I don't know because I didn't go through med school. However, in the context of a ketogenic diet, it's not really comparing apples to apples here. It's more like apples to oranges. And unfortunately, a lot of the healthy ranges that the doctors are looking at with regard to what a healthy range of LDL is, what a healthy range of HDL is, what a healthy range of triglycerides is based off of a population pool of unhealthy Americans, unhealthy individuals, unhealthy adults. And if you're looking at an unhealthy range to begin with, that ideal range is going to be skewed. So you have to take that into consideration whenever you're looking at your numbers. Now, also take into consideration the fact that your numbers can change drastically with manipulations that you make in a very short period of time. So I can go get my blood labs drawn today, right now, this instant, having not really eaten much yet today, and have totally different levels than I would had I slammed a bunch of fat, eaten a bunch of, I don't know, anything.
Yeah.
And then gone and got those labs drawn, even after a 12-hour fasting period. So take that into consideration. There's two resources that I really want to highlight right now. One is Dr. Nadir Ali. He is a freaking genius when it comes to all things cholesterol. He spoke at KetoCon in 2017. That was the first time I'd met him. And his lecture, you can just YouTube Dr. Nadir Ali KetoCon speech. That is very, very, very informative. And if you have questions or concerns about your lipids, definitely watch that. The other,
he also has an updated video of talking about this similar topic from 2019 as well. So I would suggest watching both.
The other person I want to refer you to is Dave Feldman. So Dave Feldman is not a scientist. He's a citizen scientist, is what he calls himself. But he's I think he's an engineer. But he's incredibly, incredibly smart, and he's deep dove into cholesterol, lipids, why they respond the way they do in the human body, in the context of athletes, in the context of normal day-to-day people. And he's come up with a theory that he refers to as a lean mass hyperresponder. And basically that is people that fit this group of being fairly lean, having very little body fat relative to the average population, and they are a hyper responder in the sense that their LDL is often elevated. Basically, though, again, I'm not a doctor, don't want to play one on the internet. If you have a lot of lean tissue, if you're healthy, you're on keto, and your LDL is slightly elevated, but your HDL is also elevated, so that your cholesterol rate is pretty well balanced, and your triglycerides are very low, that would not really be cause for concern in my book. That's not really throwing out a red flag. If you're healthy, if you're feeling good, if your trigs, so your triglycerides are low and your HDL is solid, then you don't really have to worry. Now, if your LDL is freaking through the roof, your HDL is low, and your triglycerides are sky high, there may be something going on there that we need to fix.
I have not had my labs done, and we get this question a lot on YouTube, and Robert's pretty good at getting his labs done, and I haven't done that. So I feel like after 4.5 years of being keto, I'd love to see what my numbers are like as I'm like nearing 30 and what my numbers are like after 4.5 years of keto.
You're getting old, babe. 30? Whew. Sheesh.
He's older than me. I hope you guys all know. Only by a few months, but he still is.
Few months.
Still counts.
So yeah, that would be what I would suggest with regard to cholesterol. I wanted to kind of throw that out there because the last thing I want is for you to not really have, dove deep into keto, into cholesterol, understand how it works on a molecular and a biological level, and then go to a doctor having just started keto, gotten some high numbers, and then them push you away from keto or suggest that you take a statin. I don't want that to happen. So do some research.
Yeah. Also, there's a person that I know of that just got their cholesterol checked, and their LDL is totally fine. Like, it was like maybe on the higher side, but like totally fine, in the safe zone, even for someone who's not keto. And then also their doctor had been having them on a statin for essentially no reason. They've never really had bad numbers or anything, but after starting keto, their doctor pretty much told them, like, you need to stop, you're going crazy, da 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 da. And then they got their A1C. Yeah, A1C. They got their A1C done, and their doctor took them off the statin, even with a slightly higher LDL, and it was all perfect. And it's just exciting that even though they have been on a ketogenic diet, their doctor is like, oh, that's the worst thing you could do, but then they still took them off of the statin. So it's just absolutely amazing.
It is. All right.
We're getting some questions in. So I love the chocolate peanut butter bricks. It's so far my favorite.
Awesome. Hello from Chicago. What is up, James? Hello.
This is a really good one.
Illinois. What's up, Tony?
What is the most fat you've gained on a strict ketogenic diet that that is if it's possible to get fat on the ketogenic diet in the first place. Let me talk about that. I'm excited about this.
All right.
Because I want you to know that the ketogenic diet is a very healthy diet. However, you can overdo so many things. You can overdo any diet. You can overdo keto-friendly foods. And I promise you that I gained 30 pounds in 3 months. 30 in 3 months. Now, I will tell you I was at a deficit after my bodybuilding competition and I went crazy. I never went away from keto. However, I did indulge in some keto treats and some keto snacks, and I binge ate keto foods and I went crazy with them. And that's how I gained all my weight. So yes, it is absolutely possible if you are eating keto snacks, keto junk food, if you are overeating by an excess, I mean literally eating 4,000 to 5,000 calories every day, not joking you. So yes, you can, but if you're eating just a very healthy diet, you're focusing on whole foods, and you are watching kind of what you're eating, then you're not going to gain a buttload of weight. I eat in a surplus just about every day of my life, and I don't gain weight. I actually lose weight, even though I'm eating in a surplus. But during that period of time, I wasn't really watching as strictly what types of foods I was eating, and I was sneaking food and binge eating and clearly having some sort of disordered eating. So it is possible, and if that's something that triggers you, then that's something that is just food-based, not specific lifestyle types of food-based, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you can gain weight on any diet. Anybody tells you otherwise,
yes,
they don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, you can gain weight on keto. You can gain weight on carnivore. Like, I guarantee you right now, I can gain weight on carnivore. I could eat a whole bunch of beef brisket every single day and get fat.
Part of that period of time, I tried to go carnivore because I was like, I got to get a handle on myself. And I still went crazy. And if you have some sort of mental thing where you're eating that much food, if you are binging, if you are having that much of a surplus, then there's something deeper that you need to deal with than just the food. But if you are on a basic ketogenic diet and you're watching what you're putting in your mouth and you're eating a basic whole food diet, you shouldn't have any concerns. Whew, went crazy on that one. Whew. Sorry.
All right. Hey, Tara.
Hello,
hey.
Awesome friends.
What's up from Cincinnati?
That's what happened to Jimmy and I when we first started keto. We went back about a year later and our numbers were fine. That's
nice.
Awesome.
Got my cholesterol levels checked every year. Very good, Christopher. Tony says, so you should eat more protein than fat. No. I do not eat more protein than fat. I don't recommend eating more protein than fat.
I always make sure my fat's higher.
Yep. Finally get a break and look who's on. Hey friends, y'all stay safe with the storms headed in. You as well. Everybody stay safe with the storms. It's kind of crazy right now.
It is. Hello, beautiful family.
My LDL was 127, HDL 79, triglycerides 53. See, those numbers are not alarming to me. Like, I would not see that and be like, oh my gosh, you got to get on a statin. Again, I'm not a doctor, but I would not be worried about those numbers at all.
Through Robert's coaching, my good cholesterol and my overall cholesterol is now 100.
Who's that?
Muscle Gator.
Muscle Gator. I like it.
Jonathan said, amen, Crystal. Clap, clap, clap. Tell him.
Justin says, what do you do to ensure you're getting proper amounts of micronutrients? Thanks. You eat wholesome, nutrient-dense foods that don't have a bunch of processing or just filler crap in them. Like, anything that I put in my mouth, there's a reason I put it in my mouth. It's like, it's got all quality food. If I look at the ingredient list and it's got a bunch of stuff that's not adding to my health, I don't eat it.
Yeah. You know, so go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. I eat meat, I eat keto bricks, and I eat organ meats, and I eat some occasional veggies when I'm craving them, but not because I think they're going to offer just a ton of nutrient density.
You can also get testing done.
Yeah, faux show.
Doctor was amazed at the results on keto. It is pretty amazing, the results people are getting.
Yeah, my cholesterol levels only improved.
Jonathan said that, I think he's saying his fat is higher even if it's by 5 grams.
3.5 years keto and my cholesterol numbers are amazing. Awesome, Natalie. Just want to say hello and I love y'all. Got to get ready for band practice. Well, kill it with the band practice, Chris.
Hello from Phoenix. Still dreaming about my chocolate peanut butter cup bricks that are gone.
They went quick.
Oh, he said muscle gators, Andrew.
Thanks for explaining that about cholesterol. I have lab work in 2 weeks and I can't wait to see the results. Definitely let me know. I'm curious.
He said, your Google guy client. Haha. I think he knew who you were. I didn't.
Your Google guy.
Your Google guy client. Haha.
Oh, you said Google Eye at first.
Google guy.
Google guy. I know Google guy. Google Eye. High cholesterol, 500 total, but low trigs at 38. I feel like it may be my thyroid. 38 super good on the trigs. Yeah, just monitor it. Like, see, like that's the thing. Like, people will get one blood panel, and then that's like all they'll get. They won't know what direction they're trending. Like, it's super important to know which direction you're trending. You may have really high cholesterol after having been on keto for a little while, but you didn't test when you were carbs, so you didn't know which direction you're coming from or which direction you're going.
Or maybe you do. And also, if you are concerned about your thyroid at all, there are just thyroid specific tests you can get, but make sure you get the complete thyroid panel and not just some of the simple ones, because there are deeper ones that you can look into.
Gain 15 stubborn pounds on carnivore. Yeah,
it happens.
Definitely do it. Mike, hello, how are you? Hello from Okinawa, Japan. Okinawa, that's where they did Karate Kid. You know the movie? You never seen Karate Kid, the movie?
I don't think so.
Oh my gosh. Brian, you surely have seen Karate Kid. Wax on, wax off. Karate Kid. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. What am I
mean, maybe I have. I don't really know.
Brian's
There's a lot of shows I haven't watched that Robert gets so mad at me for not.
I gained 2 since the isolation since March. I gained 15 pounds all keto. I've been snacking, something I never did 4 years keto. Also never used sweeteners before I got addicted. I just started mostly carnivore. No more sweeteners. Great question. Very nice. Let us know how that goes for sure. Jake Bell said my numbers are usually not great. Interested to see them this fall after down more weight. Yeah, I have a feeling they're only going to improve, brother. I mean, your weight's dropped. He's like lost 100 pounds.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's freaking killing it.
Family movie night, Karate Kid.
There you go. My LDL is over 600. That's pretty high, but what are the other numbers? Like, what are the other metrics?
I'm so curious now. I'm just going to have to go get my labs done.
Yeah, go get your labs done. Have you ever thought about making mini bricks for those of us that like to keep taking sliver after sliver off the brick? So we've thought about making mini bricks for sure, and we get this question a lot. However, it's actually more expensive to make smaller bricks than it is to make the large bricks. And the bricks are already
a significant amount, actually.
Yeah, the bricks are already incredibly expensive to produce because the ingredients are expensive. So I want to make it cost effective for y'all. And if I was to make the smaller bricks using the same high quality ingredients, they'd be like, you wouldn't be able to justify spending the money on them. Mm-hmm. That's why we have not.
Yeah, we do. There are and I know that it's a little extra work, but if you do like it that way, like a really good way of doing it is just melting it onto a pan and like breaking it up like brittle, or melting it into little fat ball molds. Though that people have so much fun with those. And I know that it is a little extra work, but when you buy meat, you don't expect to eat it raw. So I feel like maybe it's like the same thing. It's like you get a little brick and you melt it down just the way you like it, and then break it up and you have little snacks.
Tony says my LDL was 167, HDL was 78, triglycerides are 99, and I would venture to bet that your triglycerides have continually gone down. So they might be 99 now. I'd be curious. Maybe what they were 6 months ago, and then I would test 6 months from now. But I would be curious to see if they go down. I noticed that my trigs, when I started keto, they were right around 100. The storm. Okay. Love my chocolate butter bricks. Love that you love them.
Love.
Says
Mm-hmm.
That is the way to do it.
That is. Someone said, I have trouble only eating part of a keto brick. Self-control is hard.
Yeah. I don't try to cut them in half. I just eat a full one.
Yeah.
And then I factor that into my macros.
I have been like on several podcasts with people, and we'll talk about the brick or whatever, and they'll say something like, people will comment on it and say, does Crystal eat a whole brick a day? And sometimes I do.
Sometimes she does.
Sometimes I do. And that's okay. I just put it into my macros, and I know that I'm probably going to have like a leaner meat later, or I'm going to have, whatever else. Actually, I usually just have regular.
By the way, y'all, we talked about these on the last one, the little Neuro Mints Energy and Focus. And I freaking love these things. You want one?
I guess I need one, huh?
Yeah, your breath stank.
I have coffee breath.
But I really like these things.
They are so good.
So we got another question here. Many people have sluggish bile from the gallbladder. Like me, taking bile salts solves the problem for me, and it deals with the cholesterol numbers.
Oh,
I didn't know that had much of an impact on cholesterol, but that
I didn't either.
Sense.
A lot of people do take bile salts, and it is very helpful for that.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't know about the cholesterol. That's really good to know.
You shouldn't have to take them indefinitely, like even if you don't have a gallbladder. Like a lot of people will take it initially when they start increasing their dietary fat so that their body can get acclimated to producing more bile than they used to. Then they can kind of phase out the bile salts.
Yep.
Most I can do is 2 bricks a day. Did it before in reverse. Loved it. Yeah, I can put down some bricks.
Robert definitely can. I cannot believe how much. You guys should see him. Like, I took 1 brick and I started eating it. And I ate about half of it, and I was going to save it for later, and I was going to have another half later. But Robert's like, I guess I'll have that. And like 2 bites later, it was gone. And it took me like an hour to eat the first like half of my brick, because I just like to like indulge and like let all the flavors just melt in my mouth. And it's so good. And he's just like, done.
We got any more questions over there?
Nope. We have a question for next week.
We need a question for next week.
Should we talk about how cute Jack is next week? No,
not at all. Not a good question. But we got like several people on here still. I feel like we need some questions. All right, here we go. What is the lowest amount of protein that you've eaten on keto? How low is too low to go on protein? So when I was at the very end of my 2017 competition prep, I was down to 67 grams of protein. But I was having 2 ketogenic caloric refeeds a week, in which case my protein was much higher. So on a weekly average, it was higher than 67. But that was only for a week. So it was not sustainable. I don't recommend people eat that much or that little protein. Crystal's protein was also very, very low on her competition prep. Again, not sustainable. You can be very strategic with it in a very formulated way, but you do not want to do too little protein for too long.
Yep.
Glucose 86, HDL 66, trigs 85, LDL 243 total. Wait, glucose 86, LDL 243 total 329. My calcium score is 0. Cardiologist said, see you next year. My primary wants you to take statins. I refuse. I'm older female, feel great.
They will give it to any numbers like that, older.
I wouldn't jump on statins personally.
Anyone who is a little bit, even just a little bit older, they're going to want to put you on a statin, like bam, like just because of your age.
Yeah. Shout out from Houston, Texas. What's up, Andrew?
Woo! Be safe down there.
Yeah. Yes, we should talk about Jack. No.
I thought so.
No. I don't need these questions. Here we go. When will the Live Savage t-shirts get restocked? Great question. So let's talk about Live Savage apparel just for a second. So we have Live Savage apparel, and that's basically a company that we made to represent the other brands that we have, but we're also going to start making more Live Savage apparel specific items. We've got some leggings in the works. We've got some sports bras in the works. We've got some men's athletic swag in the works. And we're going to go deep into the apparel game. We're going to build it all out from the ground up. We're going to have it all in-house, internally, like we like it. But we had to push the pause button because of the virus, because a lot of our suppliers went out of business. So that's another motivation for us doing it all in-house so we can have full control over everything. We're going to start ramping that up very, very soon. We're getting some tests done right now, like some samples and everything done right now, but there's more to follow on that. And when we do bring it back, it's going to be brought back in full force. So but please be patient.
Yeah, we did say at the beginning of the year that was something that we really wanted to dive deep into. But however, I mean, nobody expected this year to go the way that it has. And it is unfortunate that, some of the ways that we anticipated getting some of the apparel and things like that would be available. But also I feel like it's maybe not the best time for, a lot of the people who would even be purchasing. So I think it'll all just like smooth out, it just as everything will for everyone else. But it is just taking a little bit of time to kind of get back on track and be able to like put the efforts where it's needed and everything. But please know that we're doing everything we can.
My doctor actually referred me to check out Dave Feldman after he saw my high cholesterol. Shocker. Yeah.
That's great.
He's got some good stuff. James says, ideas for increasing mobility. I'm older and was overweight. Still overweight, but losing. That's a good one. We could talk about mobility next week.
Oh, yeah.
We talked about that a little bit in one of these the week before.
Increasing mobility.
I laughed. She laughed back. I told her about Dave Feldman. She said, I've heard that name. If these days I'm going to convert my primary doctor. Yeah, you got to convert them.
We need some apparel that says Lady Savage. I was curious about that. We should do like some sort of poll or something. I don't know if people want like more like Lady Savage and Keto Brick stuff, or do you guys want more like just like designs and maybe like other like cute little sayings or things like that? Do you guys like wearing the brand, or do you guys like wearing something that's like
we're gonna do both?
A little bit, yeah, but I would like to know, because I keep saying like I don't need Lady Savage on anything, but then I keep getting things like that where people are like, yeah, I want Lady Savage, and I'm like, that's my figure. Yeah. And people are going to wear it. And I don't know if people want to wear my figure on their body.
I'll wear your figure on my body.
Why are you going to be weird?
Love my Keto Savage shirts. Insulin for next week. We can talk a little bit about insulin.
Yeah.
Of these days, I'll convert my doctor to keto. Yes, that's what I thought you meant.
Can you write these in your phone?
Write them in my phone?
Yeah.
Sure. I would buy a month's worth of those limited edition bricks that sold out if you brought them back again. We may have to bring them back at some point. They were super popular for sure.
Yeah, they were very popular.
Keyboard. Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to write down these questions. So what was the first one we talked about?
Mobility. Here's a follow-up on that. Yes to mobility, and any suggestions for increasing movement in the new work from home environment. I'm in a 10 by 10 room for 8 hours a day. So let's talk about that. That's a good one. It's relevant.
I have some. Okay, go ahead.
So mobility and like quarantine mobility work. So that's what we'll talk about next week. Mike says, I would not wear Lady Savage gear, but that's just me because I'm a dude.
I would imagine so.
I don't blame you, bro. All right. So that's what we got. We're going to talk about mobility. We'll probably throw in some insulin stuff as well for next week. Thank y'all for tuning in.
Someone said the brand for sure. I like supporting you with smaller branding. Well, thank you.
Absolutely.
It's good to know.
So we love y'all, and we want everybody to be safe with the hurricane. So definitely be safe no matter where you are, and tune in next week. We will be back in action. So until then.
I'm looking at these answers because I asked the question, and now you're trying to leave everyone.
Let me follow these up. You guys are so cute.
Thanks.
Lena says, Crystal, like Robert, your figure is part of your brand. Wow, Natalie says, I like wearing my keto shirts to help promote keto, just like you said, keto gets a bad name. That's true.
That's great.
Stay safe, everyone.
Yep.
That is a great topic, mobility. So that's what we'll do. All right, y'all. Take care. Adios. Love you.
Bye. Oh, can we take a picture for this one? Because thumbnail.
Okay. All right.